An imported case of COVID-19 has been reported by the Central Epidemic Command Center. The patient is a woman in her 30s who returned to Taiwan earlier this week after more than 5 months working in the Philippines. She previously tested negative for the virus in June, but on the day of her flight home to Taiwan, she noticed there was something wrong with her sense of smell. After reporting the symptom to border officials, she tested positive for the virus. She is now in isolation and receiving treatment. A fellow traveller on her flight is the only contact who has been asked to self-isolate.
The
CECC confirmed a Taiwanese woman returning from the Philippines was carrying COVID-19. Patient 452 is in her 30s and was working in the Philippines since late January. On June 30th, her employer gave her an antibody test, which came out negative. But on July 14th, she found she couldn't smell a whiff of gasoline. That evening, she entered Taiwan, informing border officials that her sense of smell was off. She took a test and was confirmed COVID-19 positive.
Of course, it is possible for the tests taken in June and on July 14 to be different. She may have been infected after the first test. Antibody tests and RNA tests test for infections in both the short and long term.
The Philippines is suffering heavily in the pandemic. As many as 58,850 cases have been confirmed and 1,614 people have died. The first test the patient took was only valid for infections caught between 2 and 4 weeks previously. That may have led her to draw the wrong conclusions about her health condition. She flew to Taiwan in business class, sitting in the front row. Only one other passenger sat in a row adjacent to her. That traveler is therefore the only contact who's been told to self-isolate. The 11 members of cabin crew have been told to monitor their health closely for 14 days.
She wore a mask throughout the journey and was unaccompanied.
The CECC confirmed that despite the news that Chinese nationality Taiwanese resident children under 2 can now apply for entry to Taiwan, by noon on Thursday there had been no such entries. Officials will continue to monitor the pandemic's progress to design next steps in the easing of border controls.